Okay, the countdown's on, ladies. Hi everybody, Brian Duffy live in the 19 News digital studios as we are once again on another Monday where the Browns did not come through. Unfortunately, in this case, the Browns are moving forward after a 21-14 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, and they are going to do so without their very, very expensive quarterback, Deshaun Watson, who blew out his Achilles yesterday in the second quarter of the game. A really difficult moment for a lot of people here. Of course, we all know the history of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, the massive trade with the Houston Texans where the Browns gave up 3 first-round draft choices. We all know, and we don't need to run through the history of Deshaun Watson, but safe to say there were a lot of people here in the city of Cleveland that were not for this trade in any way, shape, or form. Watson, of course, has a very sordid history in the National Football League. That said, when Watson was hurt yesterday, there were many boos throughout the stadium. Certainly, some people felt that was drastically uncalled for someone who was obviously significantly injured. As it stands now, Watson has blown that Achilles. He will not play for the Browns this season, of course. There is a chance that he could come back and play for the Browns next year, although many believe he may have taken his final snaps as a Cleveland Brown. Today in Berea, we had an opportunity to hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski. Now, yesterday after the game, it was thought that Watson would be out for the season. We now know he is out for the season. So here's Kevin Stefanski today after getting that news.
All right, injury front, Deshaun, as you guys know, is going to have surgery on his Achilles this week, so he's out for the season. Dorian has that injury to his finger. We'll kind of get some more information on that today, this week, and we'll make some determinations this week, but still have some more information to gather, more opinions to gather on that one, so I can update you guys later in the week. As you know, just watching the tape, obviously frustrating not to play well on all 3 sides of the ball, play well enough to win on all 3 sides of the ball and put that game together where we're going and doing those things that look like complementary football. So got to do that, and obviously got another division game this week at our place. So that's our focus, and that's what we're working towards. With that, I'll take any questions.
All right, first question will go to Tony.
Okay, Kevin, can you give a better explanation of why DTR was activated ahead of Winston, and did he get enough practice time to be prepared for seeing action?
Yeah, kind of like we talked about yesterday, Tony. I think going into the season, I felt like both guys were worthy of being the backup quarterback. I told those guys that early in the season. Felt like with not having that short yardage package with Jameis in this last game, felt like Dorian had acquitted himself well in practice and in his preparation to make him the backup. That's the story.
And the other thing is, it was the first time we saw Deshaun on the snake. Why did you make the decision that he would execute that play rather than Winston? During the week, you made that decision, obviously.
Yeah, again, that's something that Jameis obviously has done well in his career, but not having him up in the game, then it just became Deshaun would do that.
Okay.
All right, next we'll go to Scott.
Hey, Kevin. When it comes to Dorian, or is the information you're looking for whether or not he's going to need surgery on the finger?
I'd say all of the above. Just need to hear from a couple other people, but I feel good about him being available this season. Is it this week? Okay. Is it next week? I just need more information.
Gotcha. And do you know which kind of surgery Deshaun's going to have? Is he going to have the kind that Rodgers had?
I do not know.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Ashley.
Kevin, just I guess what's the reaction from the rest of the team to this over these less than 24 hours now? Just another obviously big personnel loss for you guys with Deshaun.
Yeah, that's obviously we're disappointed when we lose anybody, Ashley, to injuries. That's a very, very, very unfortunate part of our game. So it's tough. So we feel bad for Deshaun in this case. Feel bad to lose him for the season, and we also know as a football team, this is where you have to step up. Guys have to step up, and that's just how it goes.
And then since you got asked about Dorian a little bit already, but if it is Jameis that's starting next week, just what you've seen from him in his time here so far.
Yeah, Jameis has done a nice job really going all the way back to since he's gotten here, understanding how we operate, what we do. Feel really confident in Jameis as well.
All right, next we'll go to Mary Kay.
Yeah, I know you don't know yet, Kevin, if you would start Dorian, but because of the health of his finger and everything, but what would be maybe some reasons that you would want to see him more this season? Do you guys have to figure out if he can be your quarterback going forward or if he can compete for a job?
Yeah, I understand the question, Mary Kay. I'm not really there, though. My thought process is really day to day in this business right now, and so we'll see how he comes out of this injury, see what the doctors say and that type of thing, and then we'll make our decisions.
Okay, thanks.
All right, next we'll go to Jeff.
Hey, Kevin, more of a big picture question. If you could look back to the beginning, where do you think this season went sideways when everybody expected so much from you guys?
Yeah, I understand the question, Jeff. I'm not really in that mode yet. That's for end of the season type things. I will tell you, this is sports. This is football. Teaches you a lot about yourself. You don't always get what you want. You put in a lot of work and you don't always get that result you want, but you just have to respond. That's really where we're focused.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next we'll go to Daniel.
Hear me?
Yes, got you now.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, I know, throughout the start to the season, you were defended and kind of supported Deshaun as a starting quarterback. In your opinion and your kind of viewpoint, the team said you expect a full recovery when he does come back. Is it still your belief that he is this team starting quarterback?
Yeah, obviously I believe in Deshaun, but I also think it's important just to acknowledge that he just had a bad injury and bad break for him, and we're feeling bad for him and know that he'll bounce back, but not getting into all those things down the road. I'm looking forward to him getting the surgery and obviously getting his body back.
All right, next we'll go to Daryl.
Yeah, Kevin, I want to go back to DTR as the number 2 quarterback for a moment. You said yesterday that the backup quarterbacks, they don't get reps with the ones in practice. So my question is, how do you prepare a guy for a potential package usage in a game if they don't get those reps?
One more time, Daryl.
I'm just wondering how you prepare DTR for that package of reps that you said yesterday you thought about using him, and that's why you made the switch to elevate him to the number 2 quarterback. Just how do you prepare him for that if he's not getting those first team reps in practice?
Yeah, I have to be clear then. So our ones get all the reps in practice. If there's a package of plays for a player, he would get those reps in a practice. This was not the decision to put Dorian as a number 2 was not because of a certain package of plays. We didn't have a specific set of plays for Dorian in that game. We made him the backup quarterback, so he would serve in that role if there was an injury, and obviously we were not hoping for that. That was unfortunate how that played out. But it was really, I guess, to be clear, Jameis had a short yardage package in the previous weeks where he was going in. So he gets those reps in practice because we didn't have that in. And I felt like Dorian had done a nice job and throughout practice, throughout really the spring and summer. That really was the decision. It wasn't about any sort of package for Dorian.
Okay, thanks for clarifying that. And then I know you said you don't want to reflect on big picture as far as how and why this thing has gone the way it has in the first 7 games. My question to you now is, considering where you're at right now, how do you get this thing on track or keep this from getting worse, both on the field as well as, in the locker room with player frustrations and things like that?
Yeah, I think anybody, anytime, Daryl, when you lose, it's no fun. There's pain in that, and we don't love that feeling. But our guys understand that our goal is just to win. Just we want to win this game, this next one. And all we can focus on, all we can control is this next one. Can't do anything about what's happened in the past, and I think we have a group that really understands that.
All right, next we go to Cam.
Hey, Kevin, it's maybe a little similar to Daryl's question, but after the game yesterday, a lot of players were voicing their frustrations with maybe the reaction from Deshaun's injury. So I just wonder, as the head coach of this team, what's the messaging to your players who may have been extremely frustrated by that, making sure that that doesn't spiral into anything more than it was?
Yeah, our guys are certainly supporting their teammate. I understand the emotions of it. Like I mentioned yesterday, I don't think there's a place for booing players that are injured, whether it's your own team, the opponents. I think everybody understands that. And I also know that's not everybody in that building. So, disappointed, but we're moving forward.
All right. And then on another note, Nick Chubb, obviously his first game back, he was limited in that second half. How did he come out of that one? And maybe what does the week look like for him in terms of a workload preparation?
Yeah, he came out okay. I think it's important, again, that he, builds on this week, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thank you.
All right, next we go to Chris.
Hey, Kevin, two just real quick questions. One, will you guys sign another quarterback, add another quarterback either to the active roster or the practice squad?
I think yes, but not exactly sure where that goes just yet.
Also, you mentioned Jack at the toward the end of yesterday. Any update on where he's at? Was it just precautionary, just something to get him out of the game?
Yeah, he was dealing with something, but I think he should be good to go.
Thanks.
All right, next we go to Spencer.
Hey, Coach. First off, just obviously another week where pre-snap penalties have been an issue for you guys. I know after last week, we kind of asked Deshaun just like, what can you do differently? But from your vantage point, like how much of that from a coaching standpoint can you guys do to fix those problems that continue to just kind of persist?
Yeah, it's something that you emphasize in practice. You certainly emphasize in meetings. You emphasize during the game. Those are totally self-inflicted. Nothing that the defense is doing. It's our guys, and it's not just one position. It's multiple guys that have to understand that the way they call illegal shifts is you can't have two guys moving at the same time, and we have to be better. And it really is ultimately my responsibility, but it's the responsibility of our coaches, our players, to play within these rules and how they're officiating them.
And then we know how much this offense was kind of geared between you and Ken, sort of designing it for Deshaun throughout the offseason. How much can you change? Do you change if you go from Deshaun to Dorian to Jameis? What does that kind of look like? Is there different things you sort of institute depending on who's under center?
Yeah, I think you have to do that as an offense. Is you're always leaning into what your quarterbacks are most comfortable with. So that'll be true, certainly, moving forward.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, next we go to Justin.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about a specific play. Jedrick Will seemed to miss an assignment on that Dorian Thompson-Robinson sack, and he threw his hands up in the air. Looked like he was expecting someone off the edge and kind of let Trey Hendrickson come right through the line and get to DTR. Have you looked back on that play? And if you did, like, what exactly did you see on that play?
Yeah, I have. I don't as you can imagine, we make corrections in the building with our players and that type of thing. Obviously, that's not what we want to do on that play. We need to be better.
Thank you.
All right, last one from Mary Kay.
Yeah, Kevin, how hard was it to get a true read on Deshaun's value and worth this season? And do you feel like you really know who he is as a quarterback at this point in his career?
Yeah, I understand the question, Mary Kay, and I feel badly for Deshaun with this injury. This is a tough break for him, but I know he will bounce back. But he's been a great contributor to this football team, both in the locker room, on the practice field, on the game field, and we'll just support him as he rehabs from that injury.
But can you assess at all how well he played for you in under very trying circumstances with so much going on around him? And do you believe that if some things were different, could he fare better out there on the field?
Yeah, and again, I'm disappointed that it's only X number of games that he's able to play this season. But I do think we know what he's about. I know what he brings to the table for this football team.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that's Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. A multitude of questions today. Stefanski, of course, normally tight-lipped. He was again today, although there were some interesting questions and answers in there regarding Deshaun Watson and his future. Of course, the coach not giving up any information on what it may mean for Deshaun moving forward, even to the fact that he was asked multiple times, does he see Deshaun coming back and being the quarterback for the Browns next year? And the coach said, as he always does, that they are focusing on the here and now, on the today of this. So there's no clear-cut answer there from Coach Kevin Stefanski, as you would expect, on what the future means for Deshaun Watson here in Cleveland moving forward. And as it relates to the future, also no clear-cut answer as to what it means for DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He was asked on multiple occasions, is this kind of an audition for Dorian Thompson-Robinson moving forward? Is he a viable option? Will we be able to find out if he's a viable option moving forward into next season or not? And the coach was not going to get into that. What he did, however, say, as you would expect him to say, is this is the NFL and we've got a game on Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, and our sole focus is to win that football game. Exactly what you would expect from the coach. So we've got no insight whatsoever into next year, other than it's a very, very difficult injury for people to overcome. Now, you will, of course, if you are an NFL football fan, realize that Aaron Rodgers from the Jets blew out his Achilles first week of last year. He has now come back to play for the Jets. He's 41 years old, considerably older than Deshaun Watson. Kirk Cousins had the same injury. He is now back and playing at a very high level. All these injuries are different. What that means for Deshaun Watson right now, we just do not know. He was also asked a multitude of questions on who exactly is going to play. Will it be DTR or will it be Jameis Winston? We don't know that answer because DTR is dealing with a hand injury, an unspecific hand injury at this point. So that pretty much wraps it up from the quarterback standpoint on how Coach Stefanski feels moving forward. We also had an opportunity to hear from Denzel Ward. Of course, Denzel Ward, Nordonia High School graduate and Ohio State Buckeye. He had some thoughts as well on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, it definitely hurt. I mean, Deshaun, he's a great guy in our locker room and a great player. And but just like anything else, it's next man up mentality. And one of those other quarterbacks going to have to step in and take on the role. And we're going to have their back as we still have Deshaun's back as well. And we're just trying to find a way to continue to try to get a win each week.
And Deshaun, Denzel, knowing what Deshaun was able to do when he was out there this season, what did you think of his performance? Could you see you guys, winning with him going forward when he comes back from this surgery?
Yeah, I definitely could see us winning with them. It was definitely spurts there. I mean, we all got things that we got to work on and get better at. And so just praying for a speedy recovery and healthy recovery for him. And we'll all be waiting his return once he gets back.
Thank you.
And then just when Deshaun went down yesterday, multiple guys talked about it after the game, the reaction they heard from fans and maybe some booing, things like that. I guess just what did you see in that moment and your reaction just to as the injury happened?
Yeah, I think it was very disappointing to hear the fans cheer or boo or whatever from. I never knew when it was a good time to kick a man when he's down or hurting. And so I think it was just very disappointing. I feel like people, everyone has to be better than that, and look ourselves, look everybody got to look themselves in the mirror and be better. I mean, regardless of what you may think of a person or what someone's been through or whatever the situation may be, that doesn't make it right or make it any better for you to kick a man when he's down or to cheer when someone gets injured. And so I think everyone just has to be better. But overall, that was just very disappointing to experience and witness that.
So there you go. That's Denzel Ward. Very important to remember that he is from here. He is from Northeast Ohio. He said he was clearly disappointed in the cheering, unfortunately, that broke out when Deshaun Watson was hurt. Kevin Stefanski also spoke on that, and the coach was clear to mention that he too was disappointed in that, but he also realized that it probably wasn't a very large number of people who were cheering in that stadium. Remember, there's 60,000 people in that stadium, and while there was unquestionably some cheering when Deshaun Watson was hurt, which was unfortunate for sure, it was not everybody in that building, and that's what Kevin Stefanski wanted to get across. Either way, disappointing that had to happen. Disappointing for Deshaun Watson, disappointing for the Browns, disappointing all the way around, really, this football season for this team that was 11-6 last season, and now clearly without some type of miracle will not be in the playoffs. It will be a week-to-week battle to keep this team focused, and that's exactly what the Browns are going to have to do starting this week against a very good Baltimore Ravens team. Don't know who the starting quarterback will be. Most likely it will be Dorian Thompson-Robinson. If he is healthy enough to play, we will learn more as the week goes on. As a matter of fact, maybe we won't, knowing the Browns in their history of not saying absolutely anything until we absolutely find out what may happen once that game kicks off. So we have just started 19 News at 3, our 3.5 hours of live local news. So hopefully you can check in there. We'll have the very latest on the news of the day, including what is going on with your Cleveland Browns. That's going to do it for now. I'm Brian Duffy in the 19 News Digital Studios. Have a great afternoon.